fine. Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Talk Show, where today we are honored to have with us Coach Curtis, who has been transforming and nurturing talents in the world of athletics. And don't forget, there is an ongoing registration for Monosporty event address, which will be held on 21st July. Registration is still ongoing. Jarob Travels, room number 305, the Anchor Building, or you can visit Haiti's Building, 4th floor, Atlanta Media House. Welcome. Coach Curtis, we are welcoming you to our studio today. And in brief, I'd like you to tell our viewers who you are and what you're doing, like your background information.
Thank you for this opportunity. Actually, I started probably in 1968, believe it or not. Okay, I'm 75 years old. Okay, I graduated from high school in '66. I went to Kent State in Ohio, and I know y'all are too young to remember or even recall the Vietnam War.
When we wasn't
born.
Right.
I went to Kent State, in which 1970 President Nixon was the president, and we was protesting the Vietnam War. And during that time, 14 students who were protesting were shot. 4 were killed. Okay. At that time, I played football at Kent State, and I ran track, and that's how I got started into the sports. Okay, even though I did play in high school. The thing about the high school though was, I was born in New York. Okay. I went to high school in Brooklyn called Bishop Loughlin. It's one of the best athletic schools and academic schools, especially for 800 meters. Taught by the Christian Brothers. Okay, if you're familiar with Brother Column here in El Dorado, who Dave Rodish's coach is also a Christian brother.
Yes.
So I was taught by people of his order in the school. But when my parents were divorced, we moved to Virginia. And in 1965, the Civil Rights Bill had just been passed, but the mindset of the people was still in the early 60s or 50s. It was still segregation. Okay. I went to a high school called GW, George Washington. I was the 3rd black student at that high school. Okay. And from coming from New York and living in Alexandria, I went to Alexandria, Virginia. Okay, that's where I learned what it was not to be black and to be racially discriminated against. Because we still had the room that said for colored people only. Okay, and you couldn't eat in restaurants owned by white folks. All right, so that was a growing process for me, especially coming from New York. Okay, because in New York, separation was by caste, economics. I lived in the projects, okay? Yes. No matter what color you were, you lived there based on the economy, okay? Now, when I went to GW High School, I played baseball and I ran track, okay? Because they couldn't hide that ability that I thought I had, because track is individual, all right? After I graduated from high school, I went to Kent State as a walk-on, all right? I don't, again, y'all are still kind of young. I went to Kent State, and if you're familiar with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all right, Kareem was called Lou Alcindor when we both went to high school in New York, okay? After he graduated and went to UCLA, the NCAA changed the rules because he was a freshman and they was winning. All freshmen had to play against freshmen. So there was no varsity, all right? And that really hurt for a lot of us, okay? Because I couldn't run varsity, and I had to run as a freshman, all right? Now, my first 2 years at Kent, I became an activist, and not so much of an athlete, a black activist, okay? Yes. Following the Black Panther Party, okay? And so we had an afro, okay? Back in the day.
Which tell you about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So because I was involved in that, I guess I got dismissed by the school. All right, lost my scholarship, and had to earn it back. Okay, but then because of my low grade of losing my scholarship, I think that was the moment that I decided that I was gonna try to pursue helping others, like me,
Yes.
in terms of going to college.
Yes.
I graduated from Kent, okay, and I went to another black college called Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, all right, to get my master's in mass communications, okay. And during that time, I had to go out and try to find a job, okay.
Yes.
And I wound up I had a job interview at Bethune-Cookman College. It's now called Bethune-Cookman University. It's in Daytona Beach, Florida. All right. And Lynn Thompson was one of the youngest athletic directors in the country at that time. I think Lynn was maybe about 30 or 32. Okay. After the interview, he hired me as their head coach. Okay. And I told him that there were two things that was against the school. One, because it was a black college. Okay.
Yes.
And it was called college. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to recruit kids to go to a university, and the idea that Bethune-Cookman was a college, okay, they perceived it as not being a university. So it's kind of hard. So that's why I learned how to do some recruiting. Okay.
Yes.
Lynn told me, do what you can, do what you must, but we need to have a program. I told him I had to go overseas. Okay.
Yes.
I came here to Kenya. Moy was the president, so that was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Came here in 1995. I recruited, if I had my phone, we'll get it, I'll show you a picture of 6 Kenyan athletes that I brought here. Okay, and they all graduated. One is now a medical doctor, Charles Wambua. Okay.
Yes.
And and from there, we won the conference in cross country, track and field. Also, most of my girls were from Jamaica, and I had 6 girls from the Czech Republic. Okay,
Yes.
and now they're not black at the Czech Republic, so you can imagine having 6 white girls, all right, at a black college. It made the press everything. Okay, but they could run, and so could the Jamaicans, plus the Kenyan athletes. All right, and the girls, they won the conference in track and field back to back, 97, 98. And the boys, I know they went cross country. They didn't win track though, cross country in 94, 96. And because of my success at Bethune-Cookman, I was asked to coach at another school in Arkansas called University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, another historical black college. Okay. And I worked there for about, 7 years, till 2011. 2011, I was hired by Howard University to coach at Howard for 1 year.
Yes.
Okay. To replace the great legendary Coach Moultrie. And I didn't do too well there. I was accused of violating recruiting rules, so I was let go. Okay. And when I was let go, I was penalized for 3 years. Okay. And after the 3 years, my best friend, one of the good friends, Maurice Pierce, told me, during this period, you can work with us. This is at Hampton University. Okay. And then I worked there for 3 years, and I helped them win with Maurice and a couple other people. Helped them do whatever they could do, and I found out I had to move on. Okay, I was in Hampton is in Virginia, where I had left New York to go. And I wasn't really too thrilled about being there. Okay, so my friends who I went to Kent said, Coach, we need to go to a white school. We went to LSU.
Yeah.
to experience going to a white university. Right. Now LSU is diagonally maybe 3 miles away from Southern University, which was also the largest black college, 15,000 I think at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I wound up just getting my master's in mass communications at Southern University, working on my master's in public administration at LSU, but I still had that activist brain set. Okay,
yes.
so I was organizing. All right,
Yes.
so I didn't really last long at LSU, but I'm glad I graduated from Southern. Okay,
Yes.
after leaving Southern and Howard University, okay, and then going to Hampton, I was getting kind of old and was ready to retire. In my last 3 years, matter of fact, I retired in 2019. I went to Grambling State, and I worked with Coach Laval. Bertram Laval was an Olympian from Trinidad, and he had been coaching at Grambling for 30-something years. He won 40-something years. He won 32 championships in the SWAC. All right. I had the honor of winning championships at Bethune-Cookman, which was in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Okay.
Yes.
And then when I went to Pine Bluff, I won the conference 3 times. So I was one of the few, if not the only coach at that time, to win the conference championships in 2 different conferences. Okay, which probably helped me to get to where I am. Okay. Now on the recruiting end, I had issues with a lot of students, especially here in Kenya. The good athletes were not getting the grades to go to a university. They were getting D's. Okay, and it's hard to get into a university or even a visa unless you go to a junior college. Okay, and I did not like the idea of sending a kid to a junior college, because once a good athlete goes to a junior college, everybody gets to see him. Okay, so he forgets or she forgets how she got to the junior college, because now she's mesmerized by the big time universities, the campus life. Okay. And the fact that I was at a black college, they felt that, let me go either like Susan Ajoro. She went to Oregon. Okay, she wasn't going to go to a black college. So I had to deal with that. Okay. Now,
Coach.
I'm getting at the retirement age. All right, and I met Oku Konya. He's the MP for Teso North. Okay.
Yes.
And he asked me to use my skills to help the athletes at the 2 high schools, Colonia boys, Colonia girls. Okay?
Yes.
I helped Colonia boys and girls, 2 of the athletes, go to the high school state champion, not state, but country championships, which took place in Mombasa. All right? And having that type of experience, okay, I decided that was my mission, to help the athletes know what it was, the power of education. And that's what I do now, okay?
Yes.
All right, and that's what I'm pushing. I'm pushing these good athletes to forget trying to get a D. They need to get a C or B. So they can get out of here.
Yes.
All right?
No, Coach, before you became a coach, what inspired you just to become an athletic coach specifically and not football, since you told us that you played football and basketball?
I also played baseball, okay?
Yes.
And when I graduated from high school,
yes,
and went to Kent State for 2 years, okay? I decided I wanted to try to be a professional athlete and play baseball. So I left and went to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay.
Yes.
I was on the B team for the Philadelphia Phillies. All right. We weren't getting a lot of money, but the pay scale was so low that I had to find other jobs. So I got a counseling, a camp job, and way before your time, they used to lay cable. Now we got cable TVs under the ground.
Yes.
So I used to do that, lay cable. But I was coaching at camp, and I said, oh man, I'm into it. I like this. So I started coaching the kids all right?
Yes.
got got that job at Bethune Cookman, okay? And
Yes.
that's rose all the way up to this point, okay? But now, because of the low grades and the good athletes, I had to figure out what it is that I could do, all right, to help them know the importance of getting an education, all right?
Yes.
And so they can go to school on the academic side, at least with a C plane and above, and not a D, and go to a junior college. And that's where we are right now.
Coach Curtis, maybe you can share with us some of the tactics you use when you're doing your coaching.
When you say tactics, what do you mean as far as coaching or recruiting?
Coaching.
Okay, coaching. When I ran at Kent State, I ran hurdles. Okay?
Yeah.
I ran the 110 hurdles at 13.9. Okay. Also long jump and through the javelin. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are particular skills that was minimal here in particular, was running the hurdles, throwing the javelin, you know, because even Diego had to go through YouTube to learn how to throw the javelin.
Yes.
And long jump. All right?
Yes.
And I didn't actually live here. I came here every time there was a school break to do my recruiting. And I fell in love with Kenya.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, in 2000 or 1999, Kenya had the only electronic timing system. So the countries around Kenya had to come here to qualify to go to the Olympics or internationals.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
That's how I met the Ugandan athletes. All right?
Yes.
It's Julius Achan now. He's a legislator in the parliament for Uganda.
Yeah.
Julius had the NC, and he still has it, the NCAA record for the mile indoors. Okay?
Yes.
And he helped me get associated with the National Council of Sports in Lugogo, Kampala. All right, and I lived there for a couple of years. I took the Ugandan team, there was only two, Julius and Grace Burunzi, to the World Championships, which took place in Edmonton,
Yes.
2001. Now that's where I really learned a lot, going to a World Championship. Because now I saw the big time coaches from the US, as well as other coaches,
Yes.
how they manage to not only have the good athletes, but their recruiting skills. Okay, so by doing that, I got to go to different types of conferences and learning my skills. Okay.
Yes.
Now, you're gonna have to probably keep on asking me questions because I'm gonna go off on a tangent like I'm doing now.
Okay. When recruiting the athletes,
Yeah.
how do you ensure that they have unity since they come from different countries?
Whew, that's a tough question. Okay. Now, no offense to the Kenyan athletes, all right?
Yeah.
All right, and then you got the Americans, and then you got Jamaicans and other people from different countries.
Yes.
All right, that unity is in terms of the common goal. We're trying to win a conference.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to win our particular event. Okay,
Yes.
but then we bring in our own customs from our countries. All right.
Yes.
So it was real hard. Okay, to try to get my Kenyan athletes to be on time. Okay.
Yes.
Even now, not so much the athletes, but the common time is not important here. Okay? And it's still not. So the Americans and the Jamaicans say, "Coach, why are you so nice?" Because they're always late. And I said, we'll straighten it out. We got it together.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And then I had to make the Kenyan athletes realize that, y'all got to be on time. I had to be hard. Okay.
Yeah.
I have left Kenyan athletes at school or in a hotel because of their lateness till they learned what I was serious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so it came out okay. Because like I said, we won 5 conferences with the Kenyans and the Jamaicans. At Bethune Cookman and Pine Bluff. I won 2 more.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of the athletes themselves determining why am I here, what's the purpose, okay? and I just try to enforce it or try to encourage it. Okay.
Coach, now let's say you are dealing with scholarship, giving out scholarship to students. So say it has to get good grades to go to some other countries. What else does someone have to do so that he can get the scholarship?
Okay, as an athlete, they gotta have athletic prowess. Okay.
Yes.
Because like I said, they can go to a junior college if they're great athletes.
Yes.
And then at the junior college, they have 2 years to try to get a diploma.
Yes.
And then go on to the university. So they learn what it is. Okay?
Yes.
Now, I was just telling somebody, are there other sports? Like you got basketball, volleyball, tennis,
Football.
whatever. Right, football.
Yes.
Soccer. All right, those are team sports.
Yes.
Okay? Now, team sport, especially in basketball, when somebody makes an error or a mistake, it's covered by the other 4 or 10 other athletes. They don't see that. Okay, so that's hard to get a scholarship as an individual. Okay, and I tell people who are trying to get a football, basketball, or volleyball scholarship, you need to get a video. You need to research the school that you're interested in going.
Yeah.
Look at the program that you're trying to get into so you can see where the athletes are coming from. All right?
Yes.
And let the coach know that what you're trying to major. Okay?
Yes.
In the past, you probably know a lot of Kenyan athletes, in terms of females, go into the nursing program.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And that's probably why a few years ago the embassy was denying kids who decided they wanted to go into nursing. I was trying to encourage them to get a different major. Okay?
Yes.
Because they knew if you got a nursing degree in the U.S., you was not going back home.
You stay there forever.
Right. Because every time I came here, the nurses were always on strike.
Right.
for pay. And then I didn't understand it. But anyway, like I was telling the group today,
Yeah.
that the first 2 years is almost common for everybody, no matter what major you're in. All right?
Yes.
But then you're going to start going into your major. And if you're there on an athletic scholarship, you got a twofold. You got to do what the coach wants you to do, and then you got to perform. Okay? And you're so busy trying to perform, you forgetting the classwork. Okay?
Yes.
All right? And so, we got to figure out how to put everything together. Okay.
So, being in a team, you as a leader, there are challenges, maybe from the teammates or the athletes. How do you ensure that they face their challenges and conquer them?
Explain what you're trying to tell me.
Hey, like someone is having maybe leading to depression or something, maybe he has a setback, he's injured. How do you ensure that they overcome those challenges?
Okay. As a coach, we can only, and not get in trouble, is direct them to the professionals. All right, psychologists or counselors.
Yes.
All right, and that's the best thing to do without getting yourself in trouble or being sued.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, on a personal level, if we can have like a man-to-man or a man-to-female conversation,
Yes.
and I can make them understand, or have me understand why you're talking about depression.
Yes.
All right. See what the cause is, and then figure out a way how to deal with it. But at the same time, since that's not my degree or my area of expertise, being a counselor as far as psychological,
Yes.
we send them to the professionals. And then the NCAA doesn't want you to interfere with something like that. Because there was a time, all right, the coaches will go to classrooms, okay?
Yes.
Especially if an athlete was doing poorly or not going to class,
Okay.
all right? The NCAA stopped that because you got some coaches who have attitude with the teachers.
Yes.
You know, hey, you can't fail this man, okay? We need him, all right? But then the teachers themselves say, hey, your kid is not coming to class, he's not doing the schoolwork,
Yeah.
you know, we can't have that. And that soon got to the governance, the NCAA. So they cut that out. And You find yourself going to a teacher, you could get fired. All right, so that's a violation. Interfering with the academia as a coach. Your job is to train the athlete, okay,
Yes.
and deal with the life, but not deal with that classroom.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
There was trials last week at Nairobi where they were preparing
Yeah, the Olympic
for
trials
Olympics.
and I think what was it? I forgot to meet before the Olympic trials.
Yeah. What
Okay.
was your view
Oh
to
man,
the coming?
Kenya is coming up. It's
Yes.
Ferdinand is letting everybody know. Ferdinand is like the Michael Jordan here.
Yeah.
All right, everybody now wants to be a sprinter. Okay.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I met Ferdy in 2017 when they had the World Youth. Okay, he was a freshman at the University of Nairobi,
Yeah.
and I could see his work ethics. Okay,
Yes.
and so I tried to recruit him. I still even have the questionnaire that he filled out to go to Hampton University. But Ferdy fell in love. Okay,
Yes.
and he's married and got a kid. Okay, but he has. And then last week when he was at the Olympics, he ran. He was number one.
Yeah.
9:79 in the 100 meters.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. When Ferdy got pronounced, you could see the crowd at Nile or Kasarani. Okay? He had the pull to convince these young folks that there was another route besides running the mile or the 10,000 meters, which is to becoming a sprinter.
Yes.
And we can see that. Okay? I think they're going to do well. We'll find out next week because the USA trials are this week.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sure Coleman and a lot of other people are going to try to break that 9:79. All right, so we'll know what's going to happen. And then the mixed relay that they had, they're on the bubble. Okay, Mary Morale ran 49 on that mixed relay. The total time was 3:11:10. They're tied with two other countries for that 16th spot. That's why they went to Cameroon, to try to get above it. But it's a whole new world. I remember, like, as an early coach, coaches around thought Kenyans, all they could do was be like Kip Kano. Okay, if you didn't run like Kip Kano, we didn't want you. All right? But now they don't have no choice. You got the field events. All right. If you know, Nigeria had their trials last week.
Yeah.
3 boys jumped 27 feet or more, the first 3. So we're getting up there, all of Africa, not just Kenya. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you guys will do well in Paris. All right. I hope they do well in Cameroon for the African seniors. Okay. Because some of these kids you can beat everybody in Kenya, but once you go outside of Kenya, you're not on the podium no more.
You're not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think they're going to learn their lesson when they go to Cameroon. But their drive, I mean, I'm there every day, 6:30 at Nile Stadium. Okay. And notice the incentive and the motivation that these kids have, young kids. Okay. And wanting to be the best in what they're doing. All right.
Yes.
Today's trial, there was 11 kids from Teso, okay, Western Kenya, Malaba area. All right.
Yes.
Each one of them, this was their first time ever running against competition. And when you see the results from town hall, you'll see the last people were those from Teso. And we had a long talk today, trying to get them to say, don't be disappointed.
They should
You
not
use
give
this
up.
as a gauge and look at all the kids who beat you. All right, you know they worked hard to get to where they are, because that means you got to work hard to get where they are and beat them. So we'll see what happens with them.
As we wind up, is there anything, maybe a word of encouragement you'd like to tell to our viewers who are watching us?
My son used to play soccer, football, okay? But when he tore his ACL, he's now an actor. He's been in Blue Bloods. Believe that? The police detective movie and CSI. All right, so he's doing his thing. I know when he was a kid, he used to watch a TV program called Quincy. Quincy was a forensic pathologist doing autopsies for the police, and that's what he wanted to do. So me and his mama sent him to the University of Massachusetts to study forensics. Now, the University of Massachusetts is also a radical school. Okay, they got some of the best musicians and activists. Then at his time, during his school break, he worked in the theater. Okay, and that's what he wanted. He said, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be an actor. So he's been in plays and he's been acting. Yeah. He's the only child that dealt with sports. I had 3 sisters. Sports is the last thing on their mind.
Okay. You can think about
Matter of
sports.
fact, I have my baby sister used to be a Rasta. She lives in Ethiopia. All right, you know, the Ethiopian government gave Rastafarians land because they in the belief that King Haile Selassie is the second coming of Christ.
Yes.
All right, so they have land. And she's been there for 40 years now. She's not a Rasta, but she lives there. Okay, and I think her mom, our mom, I'm on the outside. I'm the oldest, and she's the youngest, and here we are in Africa. So, but I'm the only one that plays sports in my family.
Okay.
My father was a freak about baseball. We had the Brooklyn Dodgers, all right, down there in California, they're called the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's how I got to want to play baseball. Okay.
Yes.
But as far as sports was concerned, my mama didn't like sports. We moved to like I said, we moved to Alexandria, Virginia, through segregation. All right, and I had to study. You know, I got my behind whipped a couple of times when she found out that I was running track. All right, but then those are the days. She was protecting us. Okay,
Yes.
that's why she took us from New York, so we wouldn't get into crime or drugs or whatever. So, and she's 94. Oh, let me say this, okay? For the last 3 years, Charles Kamal, he has a camp in Nauru, and he lives in Nakuru. Okay, I give him peace. They can come through me. Is that we've been sending Jamaican kids, not Jamaican kids, Kenyan kids to Jamaica, to Kingston College. Okay.
Yes.
Kingston College is now winning championships because they have Kenyans and Ugandans running their distance program. So you can eventually believe other schools are going to do the same thing. And that's what we've been doing. And that's what I was talking about. Bridget mentioned it, and then I've been talking to people. They have to be at least under 15, Form 1 or in primary school. Now, I don't know how it's going to work with the new system that you got, because you don't have the 844 no more. All right? But I know they have to be under 15. And so we're sending whom we can. KC, Kingston College, will let us know how many athletes they want or how many students they want and what the academic areas are. Okay? And they pay for everything, paying for the visa, paying for the flight, and then they're paying for them to stay in Jamaica for 4 years. Okay?
Yes.
And the good thing about that is you can get a visa coming out of Jamaica than you can coming out of Kenya to go. Okay. My email is wildcat, WILDCAT 0073214 at yahoo.com. Now those numbers is the zip code for Daytona Beach, which was my first collegiate job. Okay.
Yes.
My phone number in Kenya is 254-799-8100-94. My USA phone is 571-552-5496, which is in Virginia.
And with that marks the end of our interview. Remember, life race is not run by legs, but with strong hearts and intention. Just to remind you, there is an ongoing registration for Monaspoti event Radress, which will be held on 21st July. Registration is ongoing at Jarab Travels, room number 305, the Anchor building, or you can visit Haiti's building, 4th floor, Atlanta Media. My name is Ahmed Hafsa.